everybody, I'm Katie Boyden, joined with
Becky, Director of Animal Care.
And we are here at the Humane Society for Greater Nashville with another craft for you guys. Today we're going to be making these adorable penguin cups. We're going to be talking about some cold weather safety as well, just some ways that you can keep your pets at home as well as the local pets in the community, the wildlife, safe during this winter season. So what you're going to need is an empty can and some paper of different colors. You can make your penguins a traditional black and white, but you can also make them fun colors if you'd rather do that. And then we just cut out some shapes here. We have just a rectangle with some slits in it for the hair, little circles for the eyeballs and cheeks, a triangle for the beak, and kind of a oval with a line down the middle for the belly, and then kind of an almost heart with a line cut out of it for the feet. And you'll need some black construction paper for the body. So first, we're gonna wrap that black construction paper around your empty can to start making your penguin.
Awesome. I'm gonna use glue
Oh, that's a good idea.
just so he sticks.
So while we're doing this, can you tell me, I know a lot of people in the winter, they think that the birds need our help and they put out bird feeders and other things for wildlife. Do you think that's a good idea for the wild animals, or is there something that we can do to kind of help keep the wild animals safe?
Sure, sometimes bird feeders, they have on New Hampshire Fish and Game website a description of when to start and when to stop feeding birds. There are some wildlife that, can be troublesome in the winter. Excessive squirrels, if you feed them, they'll come and they can damage the feeders and things like that. Some other wildlife can come. But if you plant the right plants around your home during spring, summer, and fall, the birds can feed freely all winter. So you really don't have to put bird feeders out. And I know it's enjoyable to watch the wildlife come to the bird feeders and eat, but sometimes you have to be careful with other wildlife. Bears we've all heard that on the news, that the bears get the wildlife. So there is appropriate times to stop feeding in the fall and early winter, and the birds are very efficient on surviving on their own.
Oh, it's good to know. For safety, sometimes cans can be sharp, so we just want to tuck in that extra piece of construction paper to dull out the inner rim. So while it is cold and people are heading out to their cars, why should we start honking the horn, making a lot of noise when we go out before we start our cars? Why is that important?
Good idea. There are some stray cats and feral cats that live in our community. And when we turn our engines off from coming home from work or shopping or whatever we do for the evening, animals like to crawl up in the engine and go somewhere warm. And so there has been some animals, some cats that get stuck in the engine, and when you turn it on, you can harm them. So it's always a good idea to give it a honk or, kind of tap on the hood of the car just to let them know a person is coming around. And generally they'll run right over. But I don't blame them for wanting to get warm, for sure.
No, not at all. So now we're going to start assembling the smaller pieces onto our penguin. We're going to do this just the way we have our example here, but if you want to go a little funny, have 3 eyes instead of 2, have them in a line instead of side by side, you're welcome to do that. We'd love to see pictures when you're done. Now, I've heard ice fishing and going ice skating, that's all pretty popular in New England. What would you say are some good tips when bringing your pet with you when you're around ice?
Great question. A lot of times in the winter we like to walk our animals on trails around lakes and streams, and sometimes we take our animals ice fishing. It is always important for humans and animals to check the ice levels on the lakes where you go fishing. If you let your dog off feed around water, you got to be very, very careful because the ice is thick. They can fall through very quickly and get hypothermia, and it can be a life-threatening situation. So it's very, very important to keep them safe around the ice in the winter time. And yourselves, obviously. But we know better. Dogs don't always. They just see a big open space to run. So they like to walk, run on those areas. So it's important.
other question is, we're putting salt down to kind of help keep icy sidewalks from being too slippery, and a lot of other chemicals are going around. What should we be cautious of with all of these winter chemicals around our animals?
That's another great question. There are several dangers for animals in the winter. Definitely check antifreeze in your driveway. Vehicles that leak antifreeze, the animals that are outside would like to think that it was, because it's sweet smelling, they think it's okay to drink it. It is deadly to them, so again, just be mindful of what is coming out of your car. Also, quick question on the salt. When you're walking your dogs, and you're walking them on areas that are heavily salted, that can do damage and dry out the paw. So it's always good to wipe their pads when they come in, and just make sure that their pads are not drying out from the cold weather and the ice. They can also cut their pads on really choppy ice areas that are frozen. So just be mindful of their feet in the winter and to keep them safe. And also for cats, the funny thing is salt is really appealing to animals. So when you come in with your boots and things like that, just make sure the cat doesn't enjoy licking the salt off the boots. To be mindful. A little bit won't hurt them, a lot will hurt them a lot. So always good to be safe.
As you guys can see, I'm crumpling down the hair in the front.
And these little holders have a lot of things you can put in them. You can put your scissors in them and your crayons.
You can even fill them with treats for your pet.
Yes.
And that way your little penguin will be your penguin buddy with your animal, and you can take out a treat. So fun.
Good idea.
Now we would love to see your penguin when you are all done. So if you want to have your mom and dad take a picture and tag us, the Humane Society for Greater Nashua, on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, we would love to see your penguins.
Stay warm, everybody.
Happy feet!